All right, welcome to the Built Different podcast. We're on our Purity series. This is episode 4, and it is Purity Carries Spiritual Authority. But before we do that, let's get to the most crucial thing you could do as a follower of the Built Different Life podcast in Jesus. Help build this reach for this channel. How can you do that? If you want to learn more about being built different, spiritually, mentally, and physically, and you want others, maybe your other coaches, to know that too, go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications of new content, and then my call to action for you is to share it with at least one person. Thank you so much. Let's get after it. All right, in episode 4, we're going Purity Carries Spiritual Authority. There is a difference between a coach who motivates. I am a good motivator, and that's not like a self-plug. That's a gift. Used to be negative though. But it's not just a coach who motivates, it's a coach who carries spiritual weight. I've talked about this before. It's in our documentary. You can check the collab button down there, hit MC Prep Athletics, and go check out the latest documentary. In there, you hear a lot of our behind-the-scenes stuff, a lot of the pregame speeches, the halftime speeches, post-game moments, in-game moments. You get to see a lot of stuff. But what you're gonna notice is your spiritual weight is really what moves mountains. It's not how much you bench, it's not how much you squat, it's not how much you hang clean, power clean, deadlift, sled push, whatever. It's your spiritual weight. How much spiritual weight as a coach do you carry? I once coached on a team at a Christian school. And all the coaches but me, I wasn't the head coach or this wouldn't happen, loved using a bad word. And they said it wasn't a bad word, so they used it. So apparently they invented what words were bad and what words weren't. It was frustrating to me. So the kids started doing it. Well, guess what? I had authority over the kids, so I explained to them, hey, every time you say that word, every letter in the proper spelling of that word will be a 100-yard tire flip, and you're going to flip the big tire. You want to know how long it took for that word to stop being said? 2 guys flipping tires. Your spiritual weight carries so much influence. Players can sense when someone truly walks with God. And they really can. Even kids who don't know God know the difference of someone who follows God. They can tell the difference between the one who follows. They can tell the difference between the one who doesn't. Here's some biblical examples. I'm not going to go into their stories. If you haven't heard them before, you didn't go to Vacation Bible School when you were a kid, and this is the first time you've heard these names, just go ahead and look them up. Here's some biblical examples. Let me give you an example of Samson. If you don't know, Samson was super strong, mighty warrior, weight room king, long-haired. So when I was a kid, he'd have been called a long-haired hippie. All right, so gifted, talented, powerful, but he compromised for a woman. Did y'all get that? He had everything. God gave him everything. Looks, strength, talent, power. And he compromised. And that simple compromise destroyed his strength. Joseph, this is Joseph, the coat of many colors Joseph, not the stepfather of Jesus. Joseph refused temptation, even when nobody would have known. This is when Potiphar's wife made a pass at him. How many of you would have passed that test? If someone's the queen's wife or the governor's wife or your principal's wife, whoever, makes a pass at you and you run. Not only does he run, they try to get him for rape. He gets thrown into the slammer. But guess what? He knew he wasn't wrong. He knew he didn't do anything wrong. He knew he did it right, and God brought him to a higher place. He refused the temptation even when no one would have known, and God rewarded him for that. That was that secret place that we just talked about in the previous episode, episode 3. Daniel, this is the Daniel in the lion's den. He stayed undefiled in a corrupt culture, and God elevated him publicly. This is the Daniel with King Nebuchadnezzar. This is where Daniel said, I don't want to eat your food. If you let me eat my food and I'm better than your soldiers or your men, then let me not have to bow down to you. This is the Daniel with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who went into the fiery furnace and say, we'd rather burn than worship anyone other than our God. And then God showed up and delivered them. Here's the connection with this. Why do I tell you about all these characters? Because it's important to know these biblical superheroes, their strengths and their weaknesses. The greatest thing a coach can carry into a locker room, believe it or not, in my opinion, is not charisma. Although you need that, but it's not the greatest thing. It's holiness. It's purity and righteousness. It's a man who will fall down to his knees in front of the Lord and his team, and he will confess what he did wrong in the game. He will confess what he did wrong in his life. He will be humble and adore the Father. And in the process of that, he will teach them how to encounter God every day, throughout the day, so they don't follow in his sinful footsteps. That's a coach's job. I'll tell you what, if you can see here, those are rings. Those are state championships, a national championship. Those are some bowl game championship rings. They mean a lot to a lot of people. They don't mean anything anymore to me. But when I got here, all rings, all fingers, baby. Now, I want those, don't get me wrong. They're trophies. But if I have to sacrifice God to get these, which I'm pointing in the camera because a lot of you do this, public schools, private schools, you cheat, you skirt the rules, you play in a gray area, you are dishonest here, you lie to a parent here, you lie to a kid there, and you hoist that trophy and you get this ring and you think you're almighty. God would rather see a humble, pure, and righteous coach lead all his men to him than a backstabbing heathen calling himself a Christian, holding up a trophy and wearing a ring. That's bold, that's real, but that's what this is about. Being built different is John 15:18. That's Jesus telling his disciples, if the world hates you, remember, it hated me first. If you're of the world, the cheater, the liar, the thief, the adulterer, the impure, unrighteous, if you're him and you think God is going to bless you as a heathen, you need to check yourself. But here's something. If you are that, you're not lost. You can be found. Just call out to God. He will meet you where you're at and rise you up. I'm going to close with a couple of verses here. 1 Peter 1:15, but as he which hath called you is holy, so be holy in all manner of conversation. All manner of conversation. All manner. That's everywhere. At home. Don't go home telling your wife how horrible these parents are, how horrible these people are, if you're just as horrible as them. And if they are horrible and you're not, rise up and pray for them. Get down on your knees, put your face in the dirt, prostrate in front of the Lord and say, Lord, I give these parents to you. I pray for them. And then Hebrews 12:14, follow holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Follow holiness. I will tell you, on secular TV, not a lot of holiness. Mainstream music, I don't know if there is holiness. Doubt it. The ways of the world, it's okay to do this and that and have these addictions. Get away from it. If the world loves you and you're watching this, you're like, everybody loves me. Whoops. I don't want anyone to love me that's of the world. Matter of fact, if you're watching this of the world, go ahead and hit the dislike button. And then finally, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? This is in Genesis 39:9. It's a question. How can I do this great wickedness and know I'm sinning against God? It's a lie of the enemy. Don't let the enemy have a seat at your table. Now, that's the end of episode 4. Once again, your call to action. If you want to hear more about how to beat Built Different, the Built Different Purity series is on right now. We're closing out episode 4. Hit the like button, subscribe button, hit the bell, and then most importantly, share it with one person that you haven't shared it with before and see if you can help them live the Built Different life.